Up next on Eco Company, get ready for a blast of humidity. We're heading inside a rainforest to get the scoop on how they fight climate change. Plus, lab coats and goggles required. It's into the lab to see how these guys are greening up our fuel. And you won't believe what this stuff is made of.
Juice bottles, cardboard, newspapers.
Ready to tackle climate change yourself? These students have a few ideas to get you started.
Hi, welcome to Eco Company, the show that's putting you on the inside track to going green.
And today, we're hanging out at the California Academy of Sciencest in San Francisco.
First up, we're checking out a rainforest, and this place is pretty awesome.
The race is on to save these fragile ecosystems, and we're here to find out why. They are places unlike any other on the planet.
There's no other place on Earth that encompasses so much bounty and beauty and species. All of life seems to be just right there.
With an important role to play when it comes to fighting climate change.
It really represents a healthy ecosystem. And I think we're all learning that a healthy ecosystem is important for everybody on the planet, including us.
We're talking rainforests, and this is a bird's eye view of one at the California Academy of Sciencest in San Francisco.
In the rainforest, not counting the leafcutter ants and the butterflies, we have over 50 different species of animals. If you count individuals and you include all the ants and the butterflies, thousands and thousands.
Brenda Melton is the rainforest curator and sees to it that every resident stays warm. So are you used to this humidity? I mean, it's really humid and hot in here.
It is, and you do get used to it. What we try to attain is a 70% humidity in this space with about a 78-degree temperature.
4 different regions get the limelight here, including Costa Rica, Madagascar, and of course the Amazon. So what's so important about rainforests?
We know that rainforests of the world are one of the most biodiverse habitats that we have, and the rainforests in particular really affect climate.
Rainforests actually fight climate change by storing huge amounts of CO2, which causes global warming if it makes it into the atmosphere. But there's a big problem. They're disappearing. Rainforests once covered 14% of the Earth's surface. Now, they cover less than 6%.
The rainforest, through deforestation, is getting smaller and smaller. So that has the biggest impact. And those small remaining fragments are also threatened by climate change.
It's a double-edged sword that worries Academy explorer Brian Fisher.
We need rainforest, especially now. We need these forests to be the big carbon sink to offset all our activities.
Fisher, who's known as the ant guy around here, scours rainforests in search of the tiniest creatures.
This forest, this kind of like cathedral of life, is filled with these wonderful creatures we know little about.
So what can we do to save these forests?
That's a good question. What can we do? Why are people deforesting? It often comes down to energy and food. And there's a huge technology opportunity there to develop new ways to harvest energy in a much more friendly way, and a new way to actually think about growing food, like the ant does.
It's about taking simple steps.
First of all, recognize what your carbon footprint is, and look at ways that you can try to reduce the amount of carbon that you're releasing into the environment. And basically try to just examine the way that you're living and little things that you can do in your day-to-day life to conserve energy.
What we do and what we hope to have as a society is linked to how we treat the environment. We haven't treated it so kindly in the past, but now I think, at least the youth I hope, is really appreciating, maybe not the ant, but as a whole, the ecosystem.
Ecosystems that could hold the key to the planet's future.
That's pretty cool. So now we know how rainforests help fight global warming.
But just what is global warming anyway? Let's find out. Planet Earth. It's a pretty cool place to call home. The problem is, it's getting hot. Too hot, too fast. In the last century, its average surface temperature spiked up nearly 1 degree. Now that may not sound like much, but rising just 5 to 8 degrees could cause sea levels to rise and put some island nations underwater.
It's sort of the environmental issue of our time.
Eric Havel is an environmental educator at the Chabot Space Science Center in Oakland, California.
So why is it bad to heat up our globe?
Well, we don't want to heat up our globe too much and too quickly, because that's when we have what we call rapid climate change. We do want our globe to be a nice, warm average, say 70 degrees. That keeps life on Earth possible. But when we heat it up too quickly and climate changes, people and animals and plants have a really hard time adapting to that rapid change.
That rapid heat up is called global warming, and scientists say we're causing it.
Climate has shifted over the 4.5 billion years that Earth has been around many, many times. But when we talk about climate change today, we're talking about humans' effect on the climate and human activity actually influencing the climate.
The problem is that we're burning too many fossil fuels to create the energy we use every day. They're bad for the planet because they send greenhouse gases into the air.
What exactly is a greenhouse gas? Can you define one for us?
Sure. A greenhouse gas is a gas that has the ability to absorb and emit infrared light. This is the oxygen that we breathe, and this is the nitrogen, and this is representing argon. This makes up over 99.9% of our atmosphere. But these are not greenhouse gases. They're relatively transparent to infrared light.
So these are the greenhouse gases.
Yes, they are. This one is methane here. It has 5 atoms in it, and this one is carbon dioxide. They absorb heat energy and they re-emit it, so they warm up our planet.
These are the bad boys, causing us trouble.
Yes, causing us trouble in too much quantity.
Carbon dioxide is the main culprit.
What's happening with carbon dioxide is that it's increasing in the atmosphere, and it's due to human activities, things like burning fossil fuels in coal-burning power plants or through driving.
1 gallon of gas produces 20 pounds of CO2. And just think of how many gallons we're putting in our cars every day. The result of our consumption can be seen all over the globe.
We see glaciers retreating, sea level rise happening all over the world. Our polar ice sheets are melting and not reforming in the winters, and so that's causing a lot of concern for the local animal species in the Arctic, but also for the global climate as well.
Havel says it's not too late to stop global warming in its tracks.
There is hope. There's lots we can do. Everything from recycling to encouraging your parents to drive less, buying fuel-efficient cars, and just learning about how to use and create new technologies that are much more energy efficient and don't create carbon emissions when we use them.
He says the key is to act now, because we will shape the future of the planet.
The race is on to find new energy sources to kick carbon dioxide to the curb.
Up next, what's in these jars could be the solution.
Plus, we'll visit your not-so-average college dorm floor.
More Eco Company is next.
Did you know that fossil fuels like oil, gas, and coal provide more than 85% of the energy we use in America?
That's nearly 2/3 of our electricity and virtually all the gas we use to get around.
But fossil fuels are bad for the ozone.
Jordan's checking out a cleaner, greener solution to get us around.
You'll never guess what's in all these barrels around me. It's the largest supply of oil made from algae in the whole world. Let's go in the lab and see how it's made. Some call it pond scum, others simply algae, but this green stuff is a whole lot more than you think. Just ask Harrison Dillon.
I love algae, I love biology. It's fascinated me since I was a kid.
Dillon is the co-founder of Solazyme, a company that's turning algae into cleaner, greener energy.
We turn algae into oil.
And they're not just turning it into oil, they're turning it into fuel.
You think of oil as this non-renewable thing that comes out of the ground, and all that oil that comes out of the ground is from fossilized algae. So what we do is we use biotechnology to get the algae to make oil in real time. So it takes only a few days instead of millions of years.
It's a recipe where every ingredient counts. So I've got my lab coat on, and I'm ready to see where all that magic happens. First comes picking the right algae for the job.
These are a lot of different types of algae, so you can see that some are yellow, some are green, even some algae is bright orange. So really, algae are a very, very diverse set of organisms. To make oil really cheaply, to make renewable fuel, you really need to pick the right strain.
They grow their algae in the dark and give the microbes a strict diet.
So what we do is we take plant material like sugar cane or sawdust or wood chips, any type of plant material, and we feed it to strains of algae that we've developed. And the algae convert all that plant material into crude oil. These are the stalks that are left over from processing sugarcane. So if you look in there, that's just the leaves and the stems and the roots from sugarcane plants. And we feed it to our algae, and the algae convert it into crude oil.
It's happening right here in this lab.
We are, as we speak, converting biomass into crude oil. That's what this device does. And once we have the crude oil, it looks like this. It's crude oil. And we can take this crude oil and we can turn it into biodiesel. That's this fuel right here. This can fuel any diesel vehicle. We can also turn it into renewable diesel. That's this fuel here. This is fuel that's chemically the same as what comes out of the pump at the gas station. This has about 30% less particulates and about 20% less total hydrocarbons than the regular diesel fuel that comes out of the pump at the gas station. Putting this stuff into your car is cleaner, more fuel efficient, and much, much more carbon friendly than the regular stuff that you buy every day at the gas station. So one of the neat things about this technology is we've designed it to be compatible with what's already out there. There's nothing special about the way this fuel is used.
Think that's pretty cool? That's not all they're doing.
Go ahead, dip it in there, take a taste.
Oh, wow.
Not bad, huh?
It's actually really good. From cooking oil to fuel for cars, is there anything algae can't do?
It can't do your homework for you.
But Dylan is issuing a challenge.
Our nation needs our young people to get excited about science and to go into science. Every generation has a chance to change the world in some way, and it looks like energy is going to be what our current teenagers are going to be faced with when they become adults.
It's a race to clean up the planet for us all. Did you know a gallon of gasoline creates 20 pounds of carbon dioxide?
A pollutant that causes global warming.
So do the world a favor and bike it instead.
Start a bike challenge at your school, or hold a bike to school month.
Pedal to your friend's house instead of always driving. Or hop on two wheels to head out for fun on the weekends.
A short 4-mile round trip kicks about 15 pounds of CO2 to the curb.
No matter what you do, be eco-wise and be part of the solution. Saving the planet doesn't have to be rocket science.
Coming up, the little things we can do that make a big difference.
More Eco Company is next.
Hey, you're watching Eco Company.
Finding ways to green up your life is a whole lot easier than you might think.
Yeah, in fact, a group of college students is showing us just how easy it can be.
Welcome to Slurp.
All the worms are hiding.
Your not-so-average dorm floor on the campus of Santa Clara University in Northern California.
Slurp stands for Sustainable Living Undergraduate Research Project.
It's a project dedicated to increase the sustainability of living communities here on campus. Some of the green things we do on the floor, we have a worm compost bin where all of our food scraps go. We recycle everything we can here, juice bottles, cardboard, newspapers that people read, so just trying to minimize what goes into the trash.
And that doesn't begin to cover it.
we're working on group research projects.
Like how to get more power from the sun.
These panels are made out of special substances. These ones are made out of silicon, which is an element.
Lachlan Barker is part of a team figuring out where to put solar panels.
We looked at a bunch of the different buildings on campus and found that there were a couple that were particularly suitable to have solar panels, and we then went and got copies of the roof plans for all these buildings so that we could begin to calculate how many solar panels could fit on these roofs. The panels that you looked at earlier are currently in this area right here, but as you can see there's still plenty of empty roof space where more panels could go.
So just how much juice can one of these produce?
A typical panel that you would see on a house or a building would produce anywhere from 150 to 200 watts worth of power.
How much solar power does the school plan on getting eventually?
Well, the school is hoping to install a megawatt of installed electrical power, and that's roughly enough to power about 800 homes.
Pretty cool, huh? And you know we didn't bring you here just to see one cool project. Let's go see another.
Before I came here, I was not looking for the environment really. Like my family, they didn't recycle at all. And then once I came to Slurp, now I became more aware of my impact, my carbon footprint.
New Green convert Chrislyn Aki and her roomie Victoria Compost are fellow Slurpers too.
It's about the little things that you can do. For instance, instead of taking a plastic bottle, just buy a reusable bottle. This is the water bottle we received at the beginning of the year. Simple things.
Their project is to solve their school's dining dilemma.
We are conducting our research project on returning Bensonware. Our cafeteria had a major loss in stolen Bensonware, so we're trying to figure out ways to help them.
Their eco-solution reduces the need to buy new ones.
Dining services approximated that they lose about 100 plates a week, and we got back probably a good 20 plates a week, so 20% gain of lost items is pretty good. We're proud of our results.
Plus,
we're trying to research whether or not compostable plates are better than reusable plates, and what's most cost-effective and most sustainable, balancing out the two.
This is the Eco Tray. It's a new program. It's a way to stop using disposable plates. It's a way to take out your food to go.
They say it's all about showing just how simple it is to go green.
Sustainable living doesn't have to be about not showering and not using any disposable items. It's about using your personal choices in a greener way.
I'm trying to do like every little thing that I could to help save the environment. And now my family like recycles, and so it's turned out good.
Calling all green thumbs. Up next, it's into the garden to see how these teens are growing their own food. Did you know that growing your own food is a great way to reduce your carbon footprint? A group of high school students planted all this, and we were there to see them in action. When it comes to gardening, these guys have it down. They're students at Bellarmine College Prep in San Jose, California.
We're looking at the Bellarmine Orchard Garden, and we actually just put in some chickens. Hopefully that will escalate into a larger project. Let's check out what we have here.
Senior Michael Dirksen decided to get the project going.
To tell you the truth, I don't know the names of these chickens, but it looks like in that box right there we have our first egg. And it's good for us. I mean, not only can we use the eggs, but the manure is great fertilizer. We're not using pesticides, you know, we're really going for the green approach here. You might want to check over there. I've always loved to garden. You know, I've liked to work in the earth, like to work in the dirt, and I just like to see my hard work pay off. So here we have our pumpkin patch. There's 2 on each one, and this is drip irrigation. And so hopefully these will crawl out and sprawl along the garden. We planted a lot of peppers and some chives and some sweet bell peppers that are good for barbecuing. You know, you can do a lot with them. You can can them, pickle them. So right here we're looking at tomato plants and eggplant. And the planter box that we have here, this is what we use from the old picnic bench. The trellises that we use here, we took out an old palm tree, and the fronds that we have, we use for the plants that climb up. They're essentially I guess you could call them organic cages.
The idea behind all this is to get people thinking about the environment and farming our own food.
We've been given an incredible gift of nature, and I think we should take care of it the best that we can.
Getting everything sustainable and from your own backyard is really kind of what this is kind of trying to move towards.
Senior Stuart Dooley is one of the regulars out here.
You may only have a small piece where you can grow some corn or some beans or lettuce or something like that, but every single bit helps. You're just releasing that carbon footprint. You know, you're homegrown, you're getting your hands dirty, and you're getting with the earth, which really feels good.
This is homegrown produce, which is the best for you.
And, he says, best for nature, too.
I wish that everybody just would like to plant. You know, I think that it's great to grow your own things. It tastes better, for one thing. You can limit dependence on foreign countries. It also decreases fossil fuels and the use of other environmentally harmful things. And so I think with that, I just like to see more people cultivate the earth.
Well, that's our show for this week.
Check out our website at eco-company.tv.
And don't forget to upload your videos. They may even end up on the show.
See you next time on Eco Company.